They say that the taller the building, the deeper the foundation has to be. But in my family, I was the foundation, the steel beams, and the roof. And yet, I was treated like the dirt underneath the basement. My name is Elena. I'm a trauma surgeon. My life is a series of controlled crises. I live in the in-between spaces, the moments between a heartbeat and a flatline. Because of that, I crave silence. I crave order. I crave things that don't talk back and things that don't need my help. 10 years ago, I started saving for the glass house. Every extra shift, every holiday worked, every grueling 48-hour rotation, it was all for a single purpose. I wanted a monument to my own survival. I found a plot of land in Tahoe, where the pines grow so thick you can't see the road, and the water is so clear it looks like liquid diamonds. I built it with a surgical eye. I chose the marble because it was cold. I chose the glass because it was transparent. I wanted a life where nothing was hidden. But the reality of the world is that no matter how far you run or how many walls you build, your past has a way of finding a key. To understand the betrayal, you have to understand my mother, Linda. Linda is a professional mother. She doesn't have a job. Her job is the family. But in her mind, mothering is a form of social currency. She doesn't love her children for who they are. She loves them for how they make her look at the Sunday brunch table. When I became a surgeon, I wasn't her daughter anymore. I was her status symbol. She would call her friends and say, "Oh, Elena is so busy saving lives. She barely has time for us. But of course, she's so successful." It sounded like praise, but it was a guilt trip disguised as a compliment. I was the provider. I paid for Marcus's rehab. I paid for David's mortgage when his consulting business failed for the 3rd time. I was the family's ATM, and I accepted it because I thought that was the price of being the good daughter. I gave my mother an emergency key to my city apartment. I told her, "Mom, this is for if I'm in surgery and there's a flood, or if I go missing. This is not for you to come over and organize my life." I didn't know that she had spent months eyeing my desk, waiting for me to leave for a double shift so she could find the spare key to the Tahoe house and have it duplicated at a hardware store down the street. As I watched my mother lead a tour of my master bedroom, she was showing off my private bathroom as if she had designed it herself. "And look at this tub," she laughed. "You could fit 3 kids in here. Go on, Sarah, let them play in there. There's plenty of water." Why do they do it? Why does family think your boundaries are just suggestions? I spent an hour watching them. I didn't call. I wanted to see exactly how deep the entitlement went. I wanted to see who I was really dealing with. I saw my brother, Marcus, the one I'd put through rehab twice, sitting on my deck, smoking a cigarette and flicking the ashes into my infinity pool. He was talking to David. "She's probably in the city making 50 grand tonight," Marcus said, his voice bitter. "The least she can do is let us have a beer. She doesn't even use this place. It's a waste of space." That's the reality of the world. Success breeds resentment in the people you leave behind. They didn't see my hard work. They saw my luck. They didn't see my sacrifice. They saw my greed for keeping what I earned. She wasn't just planning a vacation. She was planning a coup. It was a Tuesday night. The air in the hospital was thick with the smell of antiseptic and exhaustion. I had just stepped out of a 6-hour reconstruction of a shattered femur. My hands were still cramped from the precision. I checked my phone in the locker room. My security app had 14 missed alerts. I opened the feed. The first image? My father, David Sr., backing his old, leaking Ford Explorer over my flower beds. The lavender I had imported from France was crushed under his tires. He didn't even notice. He was too busy directing Uncle Steve's truck. The second image? My mother, Linda, walking up to my front door. She didn't look like a burglar. She looked like a general. She turned to the crowd of relatives, cousins I hadn't seen in years, aunts who only called when they needed a prescription, and she made a grand gesture. "Welcome home, everyone," her voice crackled through the security speaker. "I told you Elena wouldn't mind. She has so much, and we have so little. It's only fair." The sensory details of the invasion. I watched as 22 people flooded into my 4,000 square foot sanctuary. It was like watching a swarm of locusts hit a field. My cousin Sarah's twins, 6-year-old terrors, were immediately jumping on the white Beclay chairs I'd saved 3 months for. They had chocolate-covered fingers. I watched the first brown stain appear on the fabric. It felt like a punch to the gut. The reality of the world is that people who haven't worked for something will never respect the value of it. To them, my house wasn't a work of art. It was a big building that could handle their mess. Uncle Steve was already in the kitchen. He opened the custom walnut cabinetry. He didn't know how the soft close hinges worked, so he yanked them until I heard a faint crack through the audio feed. He was looking for the good stuff. He found my collection of rare Japanese whiskeys. These were gifts from grateful patients, bottles worth $2,000 each. I watched my mother go to my safe. She didn't have the code, thank God, but she was trying birthdays. My birthday, her birthday, the date of her anniversary. She was determined to get inside. She wanted the sterling collection, the jewelry I'd bought myself after my first successful solo surgery. "David, come help me with this," she called to my father. "I know she keeps the heirloom pearls in here. I want to wear them for the family photo tomorrow. It'll look so good on Facebook." "She'll be mad, Linda," my father said, though he was already walking over. "Oh, stop it. She's my daughter. What's hers is mine. I gave her the life she has. She owes me this." That was the sentence. She owes me this. In that moment, the good daughter died. The woman who paid for the vacations, the woman who sent the monthly checks, the woman who took the verbal abuse, she was gone. I am a surgeon. I am trained to remove the necrotic tissue to save the body. My family was the necrosis, and I was about to perform an emergency amputation. I sat down at the computer in the doctor's lounge. I didn't call my mother. I called the power company. "This is Dr. Elena Vance. My security system is reporting an electrical surge and a potential fire hazard at my Tahoe property. I need a remote disconnect immediately. Yes, the whole grid. Now." Next, I called the water company. "I have a massive pipe burst reported by my smart home sensors. Shut the main valve off at the street." Then I called the sheriff. I didn't tell him it was my parents. I told him the truth from a legal perspective. "Sheriff, I have 22 intruders who have gained access to my locked property using a stolen key. I have video evidence of them damaging the interior and consuming high-value assets. I am in the city and cannot travel. I want them removed immediately. I am filing charges for trespassing, grand larceny, and felony property damage." "Elena? Is that David and Linda's truck I see on the feed?" the sheriff asked. He'd known my family for years. "I don't care whose truck it is, Jim. If they aren't out in 20 minutes, my next call is to the governor's office to ask why the local police are refusing to protect a taxpayer's home. Do your job." Then I opened the family group chat. 22 members. I posted the video of my mother trying to crack my safe. I posted the video of the kids staining the chairs. I posted the video of Marcus flicking ash into the pool. The power is off. The water is off. The police are 5 minutes away. Anyone still in my house when they arrive will be arrested and processed. I am not joking. I am not emotional. I am a homeowner protecting her property from thieves. Get out. I watched the chaos through the night vision backup cameras. The lights went out. The screams of the children echoed through the house. I watched my father frantically trying to find a flashlight. I watched my mother screaming at the security camera, her face distorted by rage and fear. "You monster!" she shrieked. "You're going to jail for this! We're your parents!" They were escorted out by 4 deputies. No one was arrested. I told the sheriff to let them go if they left quietly. But they had to leave everything. their coolers, their half-eaten food, their dignity. They spent the night in a Motel 6, 3 to a bed, using the last of the cash they had. I drove up the next morning. The house smelled like stale beer and cheap perfume. The sanctuary felt violated. But as I walked through the rooms, I didn't feel sad. I felt clean. My parents were waiting at the end of the driveway. My mother tried to slap me. I caught her wrist. I've spent 20 years in gyms and ORs. I am stronger than she is. Don't, I said. Every movement you make is being recorded. Every word you say will be used in the lawsuit I'm filing for the $40,000 in damages you caused. 40,000? My father roared. It's a few stains and some whiskey. And a broken cabinet, and a ruined pool filter, and the cost of a biohazard cleaning crew, and the theft of a $2,000 bottle of Hibiki. You didn't come here to visit me. You came here to rob me. And in the real world, thieves go to court. We're your family, my mother wailed. No, I said. You're a group of people I happen to be related to. Family is built on respect. You have none for me, so I have no more for you. I changed the locks. I installed a gate. I sold the city apartment and moved to the lake house full-time. I work remotely now, or fly in for surgeries. I haven't spoken to them in a year. People ask me if I'm lonely. I look out at the lake. I look at my white chairs, now professionally cleaned and pristine. I look at my grandmother's pearls, safe in the vault. I'm not lonely. I'm finally at peace. Because the reality of the world is this. You can't choose your relatives, but you can absolutely choose who has the key to your life. I'm Elena, and the house is finally quiet.